Hello, Joe here from Infiniti of Tacoma. Today we're going to talk Tesla. I specifically want to talk about this 2021 Model 3 dual motor long range that we have, and then we have this 2021 Model Y dual motor long range that we need to talk about. Two new products for us, and I also have a 2019 dual motor long range over there. I've already did a full video on that one, but I want that in comparison because I actually did a lot of updates for 2021 in the Model 3, so I wanted to use it as comparison. Alright, so right now we have a 2021 Model 3 long range that we're in right now. And then we have that 2021 that we're going to talk about, both new to our inventory at the time of making this video. So this 2021 Model 3 long range only has 5,594 miles. This is the longest range version of the Model 3, hence the name long range. Has a range of about 350 miles when fully charged. That's the maximum range. But with electric cars, range can vary depending on the way you drive, driving conditions, outside temperatures. You know, if you're driving on the highway, driving in the city, there's a lot of different variables. So you're not going to get 350 miles every time you drive it. It varies. And we'll talk about a little bit more about that later. So great vehicle. Dual motors means it has a motor in the front and a motor in the back. That makes it all-wheel drive. It also makes it more powerful because just with a single, rear-wheel drive version of the Model 3, that only has like one motor, one engine. But with two motors, it's like having two engines, so it's like that's giving you extra power. And this has power indeed, even though this isn't the performance version. Surprisingly, there's actually an even faster version of this. But this was pretty quick in its own right. I think 0 to 60 is a little over 4 seconds. Definitely performance car territory. And then there's an in-app purchase you can make. And this is really kind of a glimpse into the future. A lot of people are copying Tesla on this front, but you can actually, in the Tesla app, you can make a $2,000 purchase. You'll get a software update, and that will give you what they call an acceleration burst. And I think it brings the acceleration down to 3.7 or 3.8 seconds, 0 to 60. So amazing. Over update, your car gains performance. It's $2,000. But honestly, it's fast enough. The way it is, I don't think you would need to pay the $2,000 extra for that, but maybe you might want to give it a shot if you have an extra $2,000 around and you happen to buy this one. But this is very, very fast in its own right. When you're driving a regular gas engine car, you have a transmission, so let's say you want to go fast. Okay, you're going to mash on the gas. There'll be a moment where the transmission has to downshift into the right gear. The engine's going to have to rev to the maximum RPM, and then the car takes off. Well, with an electric car, that doesn't happen at all. There's only one gear, so the car doesn't need to downshift. There's no revving. With an electric motor, you have instant maximum torque pretty much as soon as you hit that gas pedal instantly. So this thing just takes off. I really can't describe how it feels driving an electric car. You kind of have to get in it and drive it, but it feels a lot different than a gas vehicle. It's a lot smoother. It's a lot easier to modulate the power. So very fast. This isn't a sleeper. There's probably people like in Mustangs, maybe even 392 Challengers and stuff like that, especially if it's a little damp out with the all-wheel drive. You're gonna surprisingly go faster than a lot of people in high-performance cars, and you're also going to be doing it very comfortably and very safely because this is one of the safest vehicles on the road. So this has the amazing Autopilot program, and people talk about full self-driving. Full self-driving is an amazing program. But the thing is, it's not really available yet. It's still in beta, very limited. I think only about 2,000 people right now in the US have limited beta for the full self-driving. So really, if the vehicle has it, you're not going to have all the full self-driving features. It's quite a ways away. You do get some extra features. You get like, park assist. It will, automatically brake for traffic lights, I believe, and like stop lights. Like if there's a red light, it'll automatically stop for that, where it won't do that on basic autopilot. You have navigate on autopilot, auto lane change, things like that. You do get some extra features for the full self-driving, but honestly, for $10,000 or $200 a month, it might not be worth it. But when they do have a wider beta, when you can use the full self-driving beta for everybody, it might be worth it, but we still have to understand there's steps to this. So full self-driving beta is probably, this is September 21. It's probably weeks or maybe months away from being a wider release. So anyone who subscribes or has the full self-driving purchase they will actually be able to put a destination into the navigation system, and it can be very far, and the vehicle will drive itself there. It'll make left and right hand turns, it'll stop for pedestrians, it will pretty much drive itself. But it's in beta and it's still level 2. So what level 2 means, even though the vehicle is driving itself, you do have to keep your hands on the wheel, and you do have to pay attention. You do have to be ready to intervene. That's what makes it level 2, because it's not perfect and it is going to have issues where you're going to have to intervene. But it's really cool. I mean, the car's driving itself and you're just kind of sitting there and paying attention. You're just kind of just like, you know, a foreman monitoring everything and ready to intervene. The car is doing the work for you. That's getting closer to being worth, you know, for some people it might be worth $2,000, I mean $10,000 or $200 a month. But then, when the beta is done, then hopefully they'll have what they call level 5 full self-driving. Level 5 full self-driving is when you can take a nap. You don't even have to be in the car. The car is perfectly capable of driving itself without any driver involvement at all. And it'll probably actually be surprised. You know, I know people might have a hard time believing it, but it'll probably be a lot safer than a human driver, believe it or not. And maybe even it'll probably drive better than most human drivers too. So that's the state of full self-driving. So this one has the full self-driving computer. You have to pay for the $10,000 if you want the software, or you can pay $200 a month and subscribe to it. You don't need to add any extra computer equipment. It is installed, but it doesn't have the software. It has the hardware. You have to pay for the software if you want that. But for a lot of people, the basic autopilot is really, you know, where it's at. The autopilot has what they call auto steer on beta, so it's not going to be full self-driving. But if you're driving on the highway, I can actually get it to work on roads too. You know, if you're on Pacific Highway and stuff like that, it will steer you in your lane. It actually well makes turns. It's not going to make hairpin corners, but it can make some pretty good turns, and it will move the flow of traffic. So it does have some you know, autonomous features, I guess, but you know, again, you need to pay attention to use these features. If you don't pay attention, you don't keep your hands on the wheel, it will shut off. But this autopilot really is a godsend for people who are on stop and go traffic. I use it all the time, and you know, a lot of times I'm just driving the highway, I'm just sitting here just paying attention, you know, ready to intervene, but I can relax and the car is doing the work for me even with that autopilot. And pretty much I think all the Teslas after 2019, most of the 2018s I see have the basic autopilot. So that's, I can tell you for a fact, all 3 of these have it. So you might think you want full self-driving, but honestly, basic autopilot might be more than enough for your current needs. And then maybe when the full self-driving is better and maybe cheaper in the future, maybe it might be time to look into that. Alright, so long-winded indeed is this video, so here, let's keep on pushing through. So a lot of features and software on this vehicle. The screen is very similar to what you also get in the Model Y. Operating the climate control is very intuitive. Everything is just handled on the center screen right here. Look at this, really simple and straightforward. You know, you have the dog mode, you have camp mode. And then, as far as if the vehicle's parked, you have entertainment, so you can play video games. They're always adding new video games and features. Like there's a driving game where you can actually use the steering wheel and brake and pedal to, you know, play the driving game. We have theater mode, so you can watch Netflix and YouTube. You need premium connectivity. You'll get a free trial for about a month when you get this added to your Tesla account, but premium connectivity is only $10 a month. You get Google Maps, you get streaming music, you get streaming, you know, YouTube and Netflix. It's well worth the $10 a month, believe me. So definitely cool stuff there. We have a great backup camera. Oh, all right. Nice crisp display there. Also, for 2021, they updated the center console on the Model 3. It is a lot nicer. That's kind of one gripe I have. Even the Model Y, I don't think has the updated center console like the Model 3 yet, unless it's more recent, but definitely a big improvement there. Oh, let's open the charging cable. You'll also notice on 2021 we have a different alloy wheel design. I think it looks a little bit nicer, and these are actually they're alloy wheels underneath, but they do have plastic wheel covers. Plastic wheel covers aren't hubcaps. They're actually designed to make the vehicle more aerodynamic, and they actually work. Car and Driver did do a test, and there was quantifiable improvements in gas mileage with these wheel covers. It does improve the efficiency. The other thing I do like about 2021 is that on the 19 and 20 in the earlier Model 3s, they have the kind of the bright chrome accents. Well, they switched to kind of a matte black accent. I think it definitely looks a lot nicer. Another nice feature for 2021 is a power operated trunk. On the 2019 Model 3, it's just a regular trunk that opens and closes. It's not power opening and closing. So that is definitely a nice perk. That's a very nice feature to have a power operated trunk. So that's definitely one big improvement for 2021. Also, you have a lot of extra storage as well, without gas tanks and big motors and stuff like that. A big engine in the front, it gives you a lot more space. In fact, without having engines in the front, this has crumple zones that are about 60% larger than in a gas-powered vehicle. So having those larger crumple zones make them much more safe for accidents. In fact, don't take my word for it. If you look at some of the safest vehicles that you can buy, I think the Model 3 and the Model Y are some of the safest vehicles as far as crash ratings goes, passenger vehicles that you can buy in the US right now. And you also have very low rollover risk because of the weight of the batteries. The batteries are very slung down low, so it makes them almost impossible to roll over. And it also makes the handling unbelievable. Having that low center of gravity, these things really stick to the road. And you also have extra trunk space, as you can see as well. Really nice color combination in the graphite gray on black. So, as I mentioned, we have the improved center console for 2021. That was a really nice improvement. They also did make some slight improvements to like the colors and stuff of the interior trim. But you can see, looking at the center console, I mean, it's not horrible, but I really like the way that is a lot better. It's really kind of doesn't feel as good as that one. I think that's a wonderful improvement in that aspect. And let's talk about range. I guess that's another big improvement for 2021 on the Model 3. And our big reason why the range improved on the Model 3 for 2021 is the Model Y. Thank the Model Y, because when they built the Model Y, they designed a new heat pump, and that new heat pump helped to improve the efficiency of this Model 3. So the range is now 350 miles, or 353 miles to be exact. Before it was about 310 miles on the long range variants of the Model 3, the earlier one. So that's a pretty big improvement in range. And efficiency is the name of the game with electric vehicles, because weight is your enemy, and efficiency is very important. So because Tesla is a vertically integrated company, and they make everything, I wouldn't say everything, but they make a lot more of their parts and stuff in-house than a lot of legacy automotive companies. You know, Ford, GM, Toyota, pretty much everyone else, they rely on OEMs, you know, aftermarket parts suppliers and stuff like that to produce a lot of their components, and then they send them to the factory and then they assemble them. But since Tesla you know, has so much synergy in the creation of all the parts of these vehicles, there's a synergy of everything, so it makes the whole vehicle a lot more efficient. And that heat pump, if you're kind of an engineer and stuff like that, it's quite a work of art. I'd go to YouTube and Google Sandy Monroe talking about the octo valve heat pump. He does a teardown on many Teslas. He does a teardown on a Model 3 and a Model Y, and he was just amazed. This is an automotive expert, you know, engineering expert, and he was just blown away by the efficiency of many of the systems in the Tesla products, but he was really surprised about the heat pump specifically. So they made a lot of other improvements, but the improved heat pump helped extend the range of the Model 3 to 350 miles. That is amazing. Very few other battery electric vehicles from anyone else that offers, you know, range like the Model 3 or the Model Y for that matter. So let's talk about the Model Y. The Model Y is actually quickly becoming one of the best-selling Teslas. In fact, Elon thinks somewhere down the line, he thinks that the Model Y has a very good chance of actually becoming the best-selling car in the whole entire world. You know, that might be a little ways off. That might be another 5 or 10 years off, but Tesla is really big into lowering production costs. They have gigapresses. They're lowering down, you know, battery costs. So, you know, it is possible, maybe with tax credits and in another 5 or 10 years, if they get, you know, production processes lower, battery costs lower, that you could maybe get a Model Y or a Model 3, you know, with government, you know, tax credits for like $20,000 or $30,000, and then yeah, it could have a chance of really, you know, cutting into the mainstream automotive market. Right now, these are kind of more premium vehicles. You know, the price range is more along the lines of, you know, luxury cars like our Infinitis versus, you know, Toyotas and Kias and stuff like that. So the Model Y is basically a crossover version of the Model 3. They're very, very similar in a lot of ways, but the Model Y is bigger. Dimension wise, as far as like how long it is, how wide it is, it's probably similar, but you're gonna have the tallness is where it's gonna really kind of increase the volume, and then obviously you're gonna have a little bit more rear cargo space. I think the Model Y is about 20%, maybe a little bit more, 20 to 30% larger than the Model 3. And the Model Y is proven to be very popular because surprisingly, sedans are falling out of favor in the US market. Crossover SUVs, kind of like this QX50 that we have here, that's what's becoming popular. In fact, the QX50, even though technically the Model Y is not, you know, a competitor with the QX50, they are similar size, similar price range, so I mean, I'm sure we might have people that are cross-shopping them. And that's what's popular in the US market, are these crossover SUVs. And the reason is, you know, is you're a little bit higher up, you know, you're sitting a little bit lower down there in that Model 3, you're higher up, you have a better commanding view of the road, and then you just have more interior space. There's more interior space in the back, more cargo space. So that's why, you know, these crossover SUVs are becoming very popular. So there are not a lot of options on Teslas. They come fairly loaded with features already, which is a good thing. One option is interior color. So this has the white interior. I think it was $1,000 premium for the white interior. Then you also get the white accents on the doors and the white accents on the dashboard. But as you can see, you know, compared to the Model 3, it's very similar on the inside. The way it drives, it feels very similar. It's kind of just driving it's kind of like driving a Model 3 on stilts. You know, the infotainment system, the screen, everything is pretty much the same. So maybe if you're in a Model 3 and you want to get a Model Y, it's an easy transition. In fact, the gentleman that I bought that Model 3 from, he sold it to me because he has a Model Y on order. And he loves his Model 3, but the Model Y, he just thinks it's a little bit better for him. It's bigger. He likes the way it drives and stuff like that. So that's why I got that. And why did I get this Model 3? Well, this guy's actually buying another Tesla too. I bought this Model Y from a gentleman too. I bought these both off Craigslist from private sellers. He actually has a Plaid that's coming in, so that's really exciting. So obviously the Y is a nice car, but I guess I could understand if you're upgrading to a Plaid, you know, the fastest accelerating car in the world. I mean, pretty cool stuff. So hopefully he'll bring that by and show it to me. I asked him when he gets it. So I can kind of go over the screen and all this stuff like I did in the Model 3, but it's all the same. This does have a chip guard paint protection system on it. The front is a little bit larger in the Y than the 3. It looks like detail forgot to clean this out, so I'll have to take that back. but you get the idea. A little bit larger frunk. And obviously the rear seat interior space is going to be a little bit larger too than the 3. And then obviously you're also going to get more rear cargo area than the 3 as well. And the other thing too, I guess if you want to compare them, the 3 is a traditional sedan, so it's just a regular old-fashioned trunk. Where you look over here, you have the Y, which is a hatchback, so it is actually considerably larger. And then you have the ability to fold the seats down. They both have camp mode, but actually the cool thing is in camp mode in this thing, you could actually throw some sleeping bags back there and really camp out in this thing. Looks like it has power folding down seats as well. And when you fold down the seats, that is actually an impressive amount of cargo space. So, and of course that has a power operated liftgate as well. So the Model Y doesn't have quite the range as a 3. It's about, I think, 310, 315 miles on the Y. But amazing vehicles. If you've never driven an electric vehicle before, if you've never driven a Tesla, come in, take it for a spin. Right now we have a great selection. Obviously by the time you come in, some of these could be sold. We could have a new inventory, but as long as I'm the used car manager, I'm a Tesla fanboy, so I always try to make sure we have a nice selection of Teslas in stock. If you have any questions about them, I love to talk about them. I wouldn't consider myself a Tesla expert, but I do know quite about a good amount about them. I think we've had about 15 or 20 over the years, so I've had a chance to get behind the wheel and try out. So I do probably know a little bit more than the average person. So feel free to pick our brain. Come in. We love to show people about Teslas, talk about them, amazing products. We'd love to show you how awesome that autopilot system works. And then maybe one of these days we might even get one of these Teslas with a full self-driving and working beta. That'd be really exciting to try out. But thanks so much for watching this video. Hope to see you soon and have a wonderful day.